Okay, I'd like to show you today how to draw the isometric washer for our air engine, talk a little bit about section views on that, and show you how I would do this. Now the first thing you want to do is you want to open up, of course, your template. Okay, if you are not doing this, start doing this. Open up your template. Then I'm going to go to model. Okay, and I'm going to draw my drawing. Okay, so I'm going to go up here to circle. I have center diameter, and I'll draw 3 circles. First one is 0.75. That is the diameter. Make sure you pick diameter. Center and diameter from the center there. I have 0.562. One more from here, and that is 0.406. Okay, so where we have our front view done. Now I'm going to draw a side view. Okay, I'm going to go on the line. I'm going to make sure F8 is on. Okay, I'm going to go here until it says quadrant and slide over my little green line. Click here, hit F8, make sure that is on. I'm going to go 0.25. I'll go down and I'm going to go until I line up with here. So I'll go there till it says quadrant, get my green line. Go over there. Do the same here, endpoint. Come down here up to there. Okay, now I'm going to draw a line, and I'm going to draw all these as solids right now. So I'm going to go quadrant from here, and I go down 0.25 or over 0.25. Nope, 1.5. 0.125. Right there. 0.125 right there. Go down to this one. Make sure that says quadrant, and I can just slide it right over to there. And draw one more and go from here, quadrant, there to there. One more again, quadrant. Make sure that when you do that it says quadrant, and you get the green line. Go here, you'll see intersection here, and then you'll see perpendicular there. Okay, so now I have that. Now I'll draw my isometric. And just like before, we go into isodraft, and looking at that view, we want to go to the left, which makes it look like this. So I'm going to draw a circle. It's going to look like here. Now to draw a circle, I go up to ellipse, axis, and end. Okay, I come down here, I type in I for isocircle. I'm going to pick a spot for it. I can move it later if I'd like. I'm going to click right here. Okay, I'm going to type in D for diameter, 0.75. Okay, and there's my first line, my first circle. Again, I'm going to go to ellipse, I for isocircle. I want the center here. D for diameter. This one is 0.562. Okay. Go one more, isocircle, I, D, whoops, let's try that again. Okay, I for isocircle, I want the center of this one. Okay, D for diameter, and this is 0.406. Okay, so now I have the start of that. Okay, now I need the thickness of my washer here, so I'm going to copy this one. Okay, I'm going to click OK, and I can pick anywhere. Now, since my ISO plane is that way, it won't work. I'm going to hit F5 until I see one that goes the right direction. Now make sure again you have F8 on. Okay, so I'm going to go from here and I'm going to go back 0.25. 25. Okay, now I'm going to come in here. I'm going to draw a line from the quadrant to the quadrant. Quadrant to the quadrant. Okay, I'm going to trim this guy up. Okay, now I'm going to copy this one back, and that's the depth of that, and that's 0.125. So I'll pick copy. Pick this one. Again, I can pick anywhere. Just drag it here, 0.125. Make sure your F8 is on so you get a nice right angle. Okay, now I'm not going to see any lines there, so I can just trim this guy away. And it's going to trim, let's see, here, here, and here. Okay, I'm going to move this guy back that same distance because this hole now is on this surface. I'm going to move, pick a spot anywhere, drag it this way, 0.125. Okay, I can trim that this way, and it's a little tricky here. Make sure you get the right one. Trim there and there. Now all I have to do is copy this one back one time. Copy from here, 0.125, and then trim that guy away and escape. I'll trim this here, 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 and here. Okay, so we are done that portion of it. Okay, again, I'll probably have to move that and maybe even scale it down a little bit. Okay, I'm going to turn off my ISO. Okay, so I have regular straight lines. Now I want to go up here and I want to go to cutting plane. Okay, that's my cutting plane line. Okay, excuse me. Okay, here's my cutting plane line. It is a phantom line. It is thicker than the rest. Okay, so I want to make sure that cutting plane is my current layer. Okay, I'm going to make a line. I'm going to go from the quadrant, go straight up to here, go down here, and click there. Okay, now I'm going to go down here and click on these right here, which shows our line widths. Now, I don't see the width, I don't see the different shapes. I'm not quite sure why, so I'm going to go into properties and line type scale. Let's make that 0.5. Okay, that looks a little bit better. Maybe 0.125. Okay, and there I can see I have a cutting plane line. I'm going to turn this off again so it doesn't look so thick. Okay, now what this does is, this cutting plane line is, we're going to take this part, and right where this line is, we're going to cut it in half. Okay, and then we're going to look inside of it. So here's a three-dimensional representation of that part. Okay, if I take and put a cutting plane line through the center of it, just like we're doing there. Oops. Let me find the center here. Right there. Come straight down. There, and I cut it off. Now, if I look around there, this is where I'm cutting it. So my side view is going to look like something like that. Okay, and what it is again, we're cutting that in half. Okay, where the part is, we'll have what is called section lines. Okay, so looking at here, cutting that in half will look exactly like this. Then I go up to home. I want to put back because I changed mine. Okay, I want to go to home, and right here you'll see hatch. And these are the section lines and their hatches, and then I just pick where I want those lines. Okay, now they're too far apart, so I go up here to where this number is. I'm going to change that to 0.5. Okay, and then I'm going to close the hatch pattern. So now you can see that I have my hatch pattern there. Okay, now once we have that, what we'll do is we'll go out into layout 1. Okay, and here's our piece of paper. We'll up to layout, go to rectangular, go from there to there, cut our hole out. Okay, I'm going to double click in here somewhere in model space. And down here you'll see our scale. Okay, and according to the drawing, we want that to be 4:1. I'm going to click there. And let's see. Now, the problem we're going to have here, oops, go back to 4:1 again because I messed it up. There we go. Okay, one of my problems is that the isometric is too large. So I'm going to go back into model space, and I'm going to scale this down a little bit. Okay, the scale is important on our drawing, but not so much on the isometric, and it's too big. So I'm going to go up to scale, grab the whole thing. Okay, and I'll pick a spot, doesn't matter where. Then I'll just start dragging that a little bit till it gets to a size that I think might work. Oops, that might be alright. Let's go take a look at layout 1. Okay, I might want to move it a little bit. Let's go back into model. Let's move it. Oops, let me take AF off, and I'm going to move it, maybe see how that looks. Okay, still not quite, so what I might do is here I can just pan this a little bit right there, maybe that'll work. Okay, so something like that. Now I need to put the arrows here for our cutting plane line. So I'm going to go to annotate, I'm going to go to leaders. Okay, and I'm going to make a new one called cutting. Okay, so I'm going to make new. Let me do this. I'm going to make new, copy the standard, and I'll say that I want this size to be like maybe 0.25. Okay, for the arrowhead. Okay, and then the copy that I just made, I'm going to set that current and pick close. Okay, now I'm going to go to multi-leader, and when it asks me where I want to start the arrowhead, I'm going to right click and go to options. I'm going to go to leader landing, and it says use landing, I'm going to say no, then go down to exit. Okay, now I have to put the start of the arrow, so I'm going to go over here and drag it this way, and there you'll see my arrow. Okay, then I'll just hit escape. Okay, now I have it there. Now all I'll do is I'll go up here to home, I will copy it from this endpoint to that endpoint. Okay, then go back into dimensions, and then I will dimension it and fill out all the rest of my information. Okay, also don't forget, while you're here, I can go to annotate, and I can put some center lines in here. I'll want to go from here to here and have a center line. I'll also want to make a center line. Let's just go here. Let's go to center line. Somewhere center. And I'm going to go from maybe the quadrant here, just add a little bit. Then across here to the quadrant. Put F8 on. Quadrant just a little bit past it. Okay. And there we should be good. Okay, hopefully that will help.